Good day and welcome back to another Dbz Dokkan video. In this video we are going to be taking a look at the performance of the physical Spirit Bomb Buu Saga Duo Goku Vegeta combo card, or otherwise properly known as the physical LR Super Saiyan 3 Goku and Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta. And they're a very good unit. As we've seen, I've managed to find a 55% friend, not 100% unfortunately, but it's still going to be a pretty good representation of how well they do as a unit. But yeah, pretty good stuff. Now obviously in Red Zone there's a couple different variants. I usually like to try out units either A, in Red Zone that they will do well in, or B, in Red Zone that people might consider them not doing well in. Now for the most part, these guys have advantage in a lot of Red Zones. So for example, Broly, there's a Broly Red Zone where he's got a AoE strength phase, but you can use these guys standby skill and they're fine there. You've got the Metal Core Cooler event, but they don't have type advantage there, and they have time to stack up in the early rounds against the Int Metal Cooler, so that also suits them. And then they've got this event where you have a pretty strong strength phase, red phase, but again, you can just use their standby skills. So I think these guys are well equipped for a lot of Red Zone. I think the biggest hindrance for them is honestly their leader skill, very similar to the SS4 or the Goku GT and Ss4 Vegeta. I think the leader skills are a little bit strange. I think Power of Wishes is great. If you've got Strength LR Belma, then Power of Wishes is all of a sudden like the best category in the game. Because you've got like Strength LR Belma, you've got, the Tech Piccolo Power Awakening, and you've got these two units, and then, all of a sudden things looking a lot better. But at the same time, it's not necessarily, you just put them all together, doesn't really just work that way. So yeah, but let's talk about the unit, because they do a great job and they are a really solid unit. So obviously, as you know, I just discussed it, but Power of Wishes or Final Trump Card lead over 170%, an extra 30% for Connected Hope or Majin Buu Saga units, which is okay. It's not the craziest, but it's okay. They raise their defense on their 12 key, they greatly raise their defense on their 18 key, and that's really good stuff. That level of stacking is pretty good. Obviously raw defense isn't always the greatest on its own. Most times, for example, just having 600k defense, it's great to tank normals. Is it good enough to tank supers? Not quite, but for the most part their defense climbs so quickly that they don't tend to have too many issues. Attack and defense of 200%, an additional attack and defense of 50% when HP is 50% or more, additional 1 key per key sphere, an additional defense of 100% as the first attacker in a turn, an additional 2 key per key sphere, and an additional attack of 100% as the second or third attacker. Launches an additional attack that's had a great chance of becoming a super attack when key is 18 or more. Launches an additional super attack when key is 24, key plus 1, chance of performing a crit plus 10%, up to 50% of each attack performed. So pretty big stuff. 2 reasons why. So first reason why, obviously they stack really well. Second reason why, they have built-in crits. Built-in crits are super helpful against Red Zone bosses for a multitude of reasons. Firstly, they're constantly changing type all the time. Red Zone bosses, most Red Zone bosses, or especially the hard ones, usually going through at least 2 or 3 variant typing phases, and crits just help you basically ignore type changes, just help to give you good damage the whole way through. They can also be built full additional, which means you literally can have them just stack as quickly and as much as possible, which is also great. Again, super duper good, helps them to get their defense up super quickly, and helps them to build up that crit super quickly as well. We then have their standby skill, which can be activated obviously when HP is 50% or less, or starting from the 4th turn if they've performed 4 or more super attacks. Now the big thing with the standby skill is it's a mega defensive play for the most part. Basically they can't attack. They have 250% defense, so they guard all attacks and they create rainbow key spheres, and they reduce damage received by 8% per rainbow key sphere obtained. So the big thing here, and they have attack of 500% when the finish effect is activated. So the big thing here is obviously 250% defense, 8% damage reduction per orb, which means they can get 40% damage reduction alongside guard. Generally speaking, is fine. They also retain their stacks as well, which is obviously a big deal. Retaining your stacks means that you can build up their defense, transform them, then they've got defense, then they're looking really, really good. So that's all obviously super duper good stuff. The big thing though is obviously the amount of orbs you get. Now, they raise their attack by 15% temporarily per charge count and cause ultimate damage to the enemy. And this can be activated when the charge count is 38 or less. Then they have the finish attack 2, which raises a count by 20% temporarily per charge count and causes super ultimate damage to the enemy. And this can be activated when the charge count is 39 or more. So there's two variants of the Spirit Bomb, and one does dramatically more damage than the other, and the more orbs you collect during the process, they will do more damage. So the big thing here is that, like, same with Broly, same with Syn Shenron, you do this. Basically, you get them, they stack in the early phases, they build up their defense, and then you just go, okay, YOLO, we're gonna standby skill. You standby skill them, and then now you literally just spend the next 5 turns with a big defensive tank, and you basically stack up as much energy as possible. That's literally the entire strategy, I guess, of the team. Not the team, but that's their entire strategy. That's how they function, and it works. For the most part, it works. A lot of the times you'll be more than fine. They're a great tank, like I say. They create rainbow orbs, and that helps to facilitate everything, facilitate the other units around you. You just generally do it well. There's really not a major level of issues that you come across. And when you do this, like I said, the Spirit Bomb builds up its charge, builds up how effective it is, builds up like just its strength. And what you can do then is, when you get to the final phase, is you can basically launch the Spirit Bomb and just do a big chunk of damage. So it can be, obviously there'll be more or less depending on how many orbs you picked up, of course, but yeah, you can do some pretty nutty damage. Like, you can wipe out whole bosses if you get crits. You can deal like half their health, a couple bars of damage. It's pretty cool, and it's this kind of ability that makes it a lot of fun. I think it's what makes them really good, is the fact that they can bypass those phases where maybe they're not so great. Okay, we're facing a strength round here, this isn't good for us. We want to just bunker up, we want to just be safe, and you can do that. And then basically, as you can see, we can just launch the Spirit Bomb, and it's pretty cool. To do that kind of big damage is really, really awesome. And we're doing the Super Spirit Bomb. There we go. This whole thing is just rad. Like, I don't. I dig this. This is insane to me. I dig this so much. This is like wow to me. I don't know. I think it's just really cool. The only downside to obviously the Spirit Bomb is the longer you keep them in that form, they can't really stack defense. So make sure that whatever variant of them you're using has stacked its defense that it needs beforehand. So like you can see now, we're taking a bit of damage after launching the Spirit Bomb. That's because they were off rotation, they didn't really stack as much as they could. And so that's the only thing I would say. Just remember, you are giving up at least 2 rotations with them. So you're going to want to make sure that you've done whatever stacking you need beforehand, so that you can use the Spirit Bomb wisely, or use the Spirit Bomb in a situation where you're not worried about the stacking. You just want to be super defensive, and you need that at that time. So it's just going to depend obviously on your strategy of using them, but the Spirit Bomb, the way it works, everything about it, just everything in general, is just really, really good. And I really, really enjoy these guys, and I really, really enjoy how they function. I think everything is great. And I think overall it's just a super duper fun time. Really good unit, really fun unit. Yeah, I honestly really enjoyed them a lot. But yeah, they did well. I think overall, nothing wrong with them. And yeah, if anyone's got any questions or queries or any suggestions, you're welcome to leave it down below. But yeah, that's it from me. Bye.